Are you looking to create a project charter in Excel but are not sure where to start or what you need to include? Well, today I'm going to be showing you exactly how to create your project charter in Excel. But first and foremost, before we get into the actual building of this important template and artifact, what is a project charter? Well, it provides a big picture overview of the project, and it often does double entry as a business case. So according to the Project Management Institute, or PMI, a project charter organises and documents a project's needs and expected outcomes. So as you can imagine, it's very, very important. Now, this resource helps to provide a foundation for basing project decisions and ensuring that they are in line with company goals. So as such, it should include success metrics, how to accomplish the project, key players, and also goals as well. And it's imperative to work with team members to help define these attributes before you even get started. So that's another thing to quickly consider. Before you make sure that you meet with your project team and your sponsors before completing the template that we're about to create, because much of the information that is required will need to come from a discussion with those individuals, so your team members and your sponsors. But without further ado, let's get into the template. Now, I'm going to be providing some basic formatting on this template, but you can change it to how you see fit and how you like. I've just gone into the top here and I've changed the font. I've started this off by adding project charter template, and yeah, you could change this to, you could remove this, or you don't even have to include it, but it just gives us an overview of what we're looking to achieve here. So first and foremost, I would start off with a section at the top just called General Project Information. I'm going to bold that and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. So I'm going to use these buttons here. It's a little bit easier to do. I'm actually going to make that a little bit bigger, 16. I'm going to drag this out. So highlight over the column and drag this out. Now in the general project information, we just want to give a high level overview of everything regarding this project. So I would suggest including, I'm actually going to delete this row here. There we go. And we've got this is Calabria as well. Now the first thing we're going to do is we need a project name. So this can be anything such as the type of client you're working on and the type of or working with and the type of implementation type. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select row 4 and 5. I'm going to create a border around this, all borders, and I'm going to highlight the heading section in a grey. So just to differentiate and to give whoever's updating this project charter a box to almost enter their text. So the project name could be, we're going to put hardware upgrade at Bank A. That's the name of this project. Completely random, but you get the idea. Next, we're going to include information on the project manager. I'm going to highlight over the bottom right, and you see that little plus, and I'm going to left click on my mouse, and I'm going to drag across 1, 2, and that will give that kind of formatting across. And I'm also going to do the same in the bottom. Now I just need to remove that text, it's no longer required. And we want to call this project manager because we need to include who the project manager is on this particular project. And the same again, we want to state who the project sponsor is. Next up, we are going to want to add some further information. And what I'm going to quickly do here is I'm going to copy, so Control C. I'm Control C on my keyboard. Control V, we're going to add this down here, and this time I'm going to remove this off here. This time I'm going to put email, so that's going to be the email of the project manager in charge of the project charter. So whoever accesses this template knows who to contact regarding its contents. And I'm also going to create a new column here. We'll put phone. So this is basically the contact details of the project manager. And Sorry, I should have that. And then the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to do organisational unit. So this could be something like a PMO, for instance, but you get the idea. Now, the other general project information we're going to want to include. So I've highlighted over these two columns, these two cells here, Control C, Control V. I'm going to do expected start date, and that's the expected start date of the project. And we're also going to have an expected completion date as well. Now, of course, I'm copying and pasting a previously created section, but you could copy and paste before you add the text. So, for instance, you could copy and paste here, and you might not even want this this grey heading, but I just like it because it just brings out the detail and makes it a little bit easier to see on the eye. So, really, really useful. We're going to do two more boxes. Estimated savings, if I can spell, and estimated costs. So as you can see, I'm going to Control C, Control V, estimated costs. So as you can see here, we're just getting that really high level. So select this, left click Format Painter, and here. And as you can see here, we're just getting that general project information, the key information at the top of the project. So really, really important kind of information right at the top. The next section we're going to create, so Control C on here and Control C on row 16. So now we want to do the project overview. So in this section, you're basically getting more information as to, why are we doing this project? Why does it need to be done? Now, I like to create a box here, so we're going to have, there's 5 different sections in this section. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to do a box like this. Now, all borders. Now we want the problem or issue. Why are we doing this project? What's the problem or issue we want to resolve? Next up, we want the purpose of the project. So, can be quite similar, but often you'll find that these differ a little bit. And I'm just making the text bigger here, just to make it more, easier to see. I could probably do that up here as well. We could make all the, all the headings slightly bigger. I would recommend you do that. It just makes it easier if whoever comes into this template and it's just easier to read, and it's just more visually better on the eye. So I'm just going to do all that first. Now we've got the purpose of the project, we've got the problem or issue, we've got the business case, the goals and metrics of the project, and finally the other bit of information here is the expected deliverables. So in order for this project to be a success, what is going to be delivered to the client or to the organisation itself? So we've got these at 11, and I also like to put these in a grey as well, just to it just shows it's a key metric or core bit of information we're liking to pull out. Next up, be sure to include a section on the project's scope. So we've changed that here. Now we only need kind of 2 sections in this area of the charter, if you like. So we're going to have what is within scope. So what is the project looking to achieve in terms of how much work are we going to do? What is the scope of the project? What does it aim to achieve? And what is outside of scope? So what is this project not going to cover, and what should not be kind of included here? Where are the limitations of this project? So they're the kind of key sections. I'm going to hit save. Obviously, always save your Excel files. You don't want to lose anything. Now, next up, we want to do a section on the tentative schedule. Now, in other words, what are the key milestones of the project, and when are they expected to start and to finish? So again, we're going to do a box, if you like, a bordered area. And at the top, I'm just going to put in key milestone here, just so whoever kind of comes into this Excel sheet gets an understanding. I'll probably bold that out as well. And we need another column, so I'm just going to select all the cells here, bottom right, and drag across. So sorry, bottom right, when you see the little plus, then left click and then drag across. We're going to put a start and we're going to put an end, or I could put finish here. Bold those and make those bigger as well. So I'm just going into the top here and changing the formatting, and I'm also going to, while we're here, select all of these cells, right click, we're going to format these cells. So these are going to be dates. So we want to change the category from general to date. Now you can choose your different, option, your style, depending on where you are. You might tell from my accent that I am in the UK, English. But if you're in the States or you want, a different formatting, then you can choose accordingly. But I'm just going to put that for now. Now the key milestones you want to include, obviously this will depend on your project, but you've got your kind of core milestones that you would want to include, such as form your project team, define project scope, define phases. You get the kind of idea. This will obviously depend on your project and what you look to achieve. You could have anything in here. It really does depend what you're trying to deliver. So it could be a product rollout. You get the idea. Product review, that would probably come first actually. If we switch those around, you get the kind of idea. And then the last one you're going to want to have is something like a project summary, closure, project or something like document lessons learned. These are the kind of key things that you'll need to be doing on your project. So I've just put those in as an example. I'm actually going to make those a little bit bigger as well. And then you can start putting in dates. So we could put in, let's put in the 20th of September. And then let's put in, this is going to last for 5 days. You just get the idea. You just fill this out as and when, and as it's kind of agreed with your team members. So that's a tentative schedule section. The next section you're going to want to include is the resources on the project. So here you want to basically list, we're going to put 3 here. So the kind of key ones you're going to think you might want to include are, your project team. So this could be, you're the project manager, you might be the project manager. Well, you probably will be if you're pulling this charter together, but you could put people in here like, I don't know, your PMO contacts, or you could put in individuals like your product delivery specialists, those kind of things. So you've got an area to put these individuals in. And all I'm doing there is I'm copying and pasting from another cell that I want the formatting of. You can also go in the format painter. So if you click on a cell you want, left click on format painter, then you kind of drag it to where you want it. I'm actually gonna make these grey as well. I quite like that. And yeah, so you'd obviously enter the data in there. So we've got project team. The other ones I'd recommend are something like, support resources, or even, I don't know, special needs. If you have any particular needs on the project, expertise, and you could state that in here. Now, next up, you're going to want to include a section on costs. So, you can have various different costs on your project. And, it could be, you just want to basically give an overview of your main cost here. So I like to start this off with a column heading called cost type. We could then have, a cost description. We could then have, the rate and perhaps the quantity, and then lastly, the amount. So the amount it's actually going to cost your organisation. So let's make that like that, and I'm just going to format paint here, and I'm just going to include, this kind of formatting. Now, this could be anything. This could be something like labour. It could be product procurement. It could be supplies. It could be IT. It could be anything, or you might even want to throw it in as miscellaneous. Now this is always a tricky spelling, but I think I got that. If I got that wrong, then please drop a comment down below and let me know how I should be spelling that. So let's put that for now. So these are the kind of costs. This could be cost of product specialist. He could be a contractor, for instance. So, you might need to put that in. His rate could be, I don't know, $100 an hour, £100 an hour. You might need him for 3 days. So I need to change this quantity here. So format cells. We want this to be a general. And on the rate, what you can do is you can highlight all the cells, right click, format cells, and put that in as a currency. And then the amount, you know, that's a total amount. So again, you might want to put that in as a currency, or, you know, even a number. We'll put that in as a number just as an example. So, you know, that this is basically how much it's going to cost you. So £100 is his rate. We've got him for, say, 3 hours. It's going to cost us 300. So you get the idea here. You'd fill in the description, and to keep everything kind of in sync, I'm actually going to highlight these in grey. So yeah, you know, the grey is just a good way to just break things out and just gives that kind of visual, you know, it just looks quite nice. So as you can see, the project charter is shaping up and we're getting a lot of good information in here, and you would fill it out accordingly with your project team. Now the next section to include is one on benefits. So if I can spell. So here, you know, we're going to put things in like, let's copy, Control C, Control V, remember, and Control C, Control V. So that's got our table quite quickly. So, you know, what are the kind of expected benefits of the project? Why are we doing this? You know, there's got to be a reason for the project, or there's no point in doing it. So we want to basically specify them here. You know, we can also put in things like, we could put something in like this as well. Sometimes you see project charters with benefits and customers, and here you could put things like key stakeholders, and another one that you'll often see in this kind of section, which I'd recommend you doing, is I would put in something like process owner. That's also quite important as well. You know, who are the main process owners on this project? Now you can also put in here you could put in something like, we're going to put in, so I'm going to copy and paste. No, I'll copy and paste. Yeah, let's copy and paste this section here. I will need to change this a little bit, as you'll soon see, but we're going to put some specific benefits of the project in this section. So here we're going to put, you know, there could be some cost savings for this, for, you know, undertaking this project. There could be some enhanced revenue. I'm struggling with my spelling today, bear with me. We could put in things like, you know, higher productivity. That's another benefit of a project. Improved compliance. Better decision making. You know, you get better decision making. So you get the idea. These are the main benefits of doing a project, and ones that you would obviously, you know, reasons why you'd want to perhaps do a project. You might not have all of these on every project. You might have one or two. You might have several. You might have several more. But, you know, that's the kind of idea here. And again, put in a description. You know, give people some context of what you mean. And then what I would probably do in the final section here, we don't actually need these, is I would, in the final column, I should say, we can put in estimated benefit amount. So this could be, you know, you could actually put a monetary figure on it. So, you know, this could be $1,000, or you increase revenue by 50,000. You know, and higher productivity, that's hard to put a monetary value on. Sometimes you'll see these with an actual, you know, sometimes numbers are given, but sometimes, you know, this could be blank. But yeah, it's good to have this column just in case, you know, you have particular cost savings that you want to call out. So we're nearly there. You know, we've got one more section to include, and that is going to be risks, constraints, and assumptions. Now these are very important. It's very important to document these at the start of a project and to monitor them as you go on. You've got obviously a risk register to prepare and look after as you go along in a project, but you should include these at the start of a project. And this section, it only needs to be, we actually don't need that. We only need three kind of sections here, and basically you're basically just like including each one and an area to put them down basically. So yeah, you want to document them in the relevant boxes here. And the last thing that you should do is a prepared by. So who's actually created this document? Who's created it? And actually, I'm going to do this. Format Painter, I love doing that, as you can tell. We're going to do a prepared by, who they are, so title, you know, who is this individual? Likely be the project manager, but not always. And even then, you could have several project managers in your organisation. And then you also want to put, so let's format this across. you also want to put the date. So when was this created? So put that in the end there. And that really, no, that shouldn't be like that. Format Painter, we love that. I'm going to save. And that really is your project charter. That's a template in a nutshell. This is kind of what you would expect from you know, the PMI organisation. This is what they would typically expect in a project charter. So yeah, go ahead, copy this template and create your own project charter. If you do want me to send you this particular template, I'll be happy to do that. Just drop a comment down below in the comment section, and I will get back to you, and I will outline how you can get this template. And in the meantime, please do hit the like button if this was useful. It lets me know that I should continue creating videos like this. And do subscribe if it was particularly useful and you want to see more videos that I release on project management and Excel in particular as well. So with all that said, I hope this template is useful, this tutorial you can follow along in your own time, and I also hope you have an excellent day.